Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Two Shot Tuesday. I am super excited because one half of the team was away for a while. And while that may not be the biggest deal, it was to me
Right.
and to our audience, the city of Toronto. Jason Riley, you are back from Japan, your second trip, and this time was a lot shorter. Welcome home. And I can't wait for you to get into what you were doing over there.
Thank you. Yeah. And for our audience, we had things ready to go, pre recorded. So really, they didn't miss a beat. But there was anguish. I could tell there was
I missed a
anguish
few beats.
as we texted, because when you're 13 hours ahead, it was 14 hours ahead last time I went in November, but they
Yeah.
don't do spring, what is it called? Where you spring ahead,
Spring
fall back,
forward?
daylight savings time. Yeah, they don't do that. So we caught up about 1 hour. So I was only 13 hours ahead. Pretty
It was
exciting
still cool
stuff.
getting messages from the future, though.
Wasn't it? Because,
Yeah.
I was far ahead and coming back. Well, let's not even do coming back. I'll start telling you about the trip right after we
Please.
do a little something on our show that doesn't change no matter what time zone you're in. Shot number one.
Amen, brother.
What
What
have
have
you
you
got?
got for your welcome back shot, Jay?
I've got, what did I have? What's it called? The Whistler. I'm trying to get through it. I'm almost through it. We've had it on a couple shows and the bottle's almost done. So I'm working my way. Barry, what have you got?
Well, your commitment is nothing short of biblical, even when it's something you don't necessarily care for. Jay, I'm sticking with something that we both know and love, and I think you know what it is. Jameson Black Barrel.
Oof, our
Cheers to
favorite.
you. Cheers.
And you.
It just kind of opens everything up, doesn't it?
It really does. It's really nice. The Whistler's packs a bit of a punch, but I'm getting used to it. And I feel it. It's like you're scaling down the side of a mountain. I can feel the mountain climber going right down into my gullet. And it's
That's
not so
nice.
bad. I
That's
won't
not
buy
so
it
bad.
again.
And this time your face looked a lot less, I don't want to
Stained?
say screwed up because of the flavorings, but you look like a normal guy this time. Before, you
Yeah.
looked like you were, I don't know, in the vacuum of space for a brief moment.
I recommend a little Bacardi and Coke Zero to help
Yeah.
loosen up the palate a bit. It
Well
makes
done.
things a little smoother going down. So cheers to you on that.
Beautiful. I got a little beer in a glass over here.
Why are we drinking so much? Because this is our Big in Japan episode. We both got a Japan story. Barry, you've said yours maybe not as exciting. I'm not so sure about that. We're going to
Not
find
even
out.
close.
Why don't I talk a little bit
Spoiler alert.
about my trip?
Please.
Yeah, I went to film the last couple of days that I need to film for the show that I'm in, and that'll be coming out. I'm not sure when, so I will be sure to let our listeners and viewers know as soon as I'm ready to be able to talk about it. I've signed
Yeah.
NDAs. That's my big deal. I've signed NDAs on this thing. That's a non-disclosure agreement for the
Yeah, I was just going to
layperson.
ask you.
But it doesn't matter. I probably could. It's already a show that's actually airing right now, and I'm coming into season 3. So I'll tell you about that already. So a little teaser. Anyway, here's how we left it. In November, I was there for 3 weeks, and I
Mhm.
shot for about 8 days of those 3 weeks. Executive producer Aldo Roma came for 2 of those weeks. So we really got to see the sights. He took on the enormous responsibility of being a tour guide to map out where we were going to go on the days that I was not shooting. And then he was able to go tour on his own on the days that I was shooting.
Mhm.
So going back again, it kind of felt like going home because I was in the same hotel,
Wow.
same part of town. I knew exactly where the pizza place was, where the Freshness Burger was, where
Freshness?
yeah, it's not the Fresh Burger, it's the Freshness Burger. It tastes like Harvey's.
Nice.
It really does. The patty tastes just like Harvey's,
The original patty or is the Angus patty?
the original.
The original. Okay.
I'm
Good.
sure they did have an Angus burger, I believe, but I didn't try that one. I tried the original. It's hard enough. The one thing about Japan, I think I may have mentioned it before, is they do not generally go out of their way to translate things to English. They don't try to appeal to tourists. The signs are not really translated into English. You have to use your
Really?
translation app on your phone to be able, like, even as I ordered, and I ordered off the touch screen because they didn't speak English. I would hold my phone up to the screen so I could see it translate, so I knew which button to push. Because I'm a guy that likes to remove every condiment, and so you have to minus this sauce, minus the pickle, minus the. So I'm looking at everything through my phone.
Yeah.
But the
The last
Freshness
thing you should
Burger-
be doing is raw dogging an order of food in Japan. Absolutely, Jay. You did the right thing.
It's a bad scene. I went to the McDonald's every morning to get my egg and sausage McMuffin, and
Beautiful.
the woman got to know me, and she was there last time I was there, so she was very friendly. We couldn't communicate at all, but I pointed to the same menu item every time, And I always got something different, which was always, I think they were just playing with me. It was never quite the same. There was one time without the egg, one time without the sausage, one time. It never had cheese though. We all got it. By the end of my trip, I would just go, no cheese. And she knew exactly what that was. And the first time I showed her, because I'd have my Claude app translate things into Japanese so they could read it off the screen. And they would do the same
Wow.
for me in some cases. And
Now,
when
did
they
you
would do
complain
this,
about
yeah,
no egg or no sausage on some of these bungled orders, or did you just
no,
roll with it?
you can't. You just roll with it because they're smiling the whole time. That's the thing. They don't go out of their way to help, with the English and stuff.
Mhm.
There's always a big smile on their face. They even have a famous thing, and I mentioned this last time this happened to us, where some restaurants will not let foreigners in. It's for locals only. And it's
Really?
like, everyone showed me, it's like you get the X. I never got the X, but we got smiled, and they were like, mm-mm. They just don't let you in. It's not for you. They're not for us. They're not here for our entertainment. They're here for themselves. They're running a culture. They've got plenty of citizens. They've got a lot of economic stuff to go around, and they don't need us. And they're quite happy to say, we don't need you. You're here, and we're happy to have you here. And I was sort of working there. So I did feel a bit different. I wasn't just a tourist. I wasn't just taking. I was there to contribute to the business that they're running.
If I may, not just their business, their very culture. You were a
Yes.
part of the quilt of their cultural fabric.
Cheers to that. Yeah, exactly.
Cheers. It's 100% accurate.
So I had a great time. So I got there. I flew out of here Sunday, which means I landed on Monday. Tuesday was my day off, and that was great. I was able to climatize. I took a pod. I told you I was able to upgrade myself to
Yeah.
a pod on the way out. It was a direct flight. Coming back, I got a pod to Vancouver. And then from Vancouver to Toronto, I got the last premium economy seat. So I was able to upgrade for a couple of bucks to a premium economy. So in every case, I upgraded my stay, which was nice. The pod was,
Unbelievable.
you gotta get the pod any chance you can. And usually it's that last minute one that you're able to get, which is at that point, hundreds, sometimes thousands, but hundreds of dollars more versus like if you book a pod, like to there, it's like 10 grand or something. It's ridiculous. You would never pay it.
Yeah.
But by the time it gets to the end and they haven't sold some, they're now selling them for hundreds or in some cases thousands of dollars. But yeah, you can get in there.
Yeah.
And
Well, I won't embarrass you
it's
by
worth it.
asking you to disclose the
I
actual
won't
amount.
tell you.
Yeah,
But
you don't need to, but I'm happy that you were in a pod. Can you just quickly tell me, as someone who's never been in a pod, I'm a non-pod guy, what was it like?
it is an entirely different experience. As someone who went from a pod to Vancouver and then a seat from Vancouver forward, like you can lay down. Even I can almost stretch out flat. You're by yourself. It's you and a TV and basically your own little private room. Now the Air Canada pods are not like the last time I went, I was in the ANA, they're called. It's a Japan Airways, and they have pods that are around you. You can put dividers up so you can see it. So basically nobody can see you and you can't see out except on the roof, which is open. Air Canada is very different, but it's like you're sitting in a recliner, but you're staring at a TV.
Yeah.
They're bringing food to you. Everything's
Yeah.
in glassware. Like everything's just an upgraded experience.
Mm.
And it's worth it. It's not worth 10 grand, I don't think, but it is definitely worth the ability to get there. You've got, the private use of the washing. There's not hundreds of people using the washroom. There's like 20 people that are using a washroom up there. So things
Better.
it holds itself together, especially after a 14-hour flight.
Oof.
Those things take a beating when there's hundreds of people using them. So it's just the whole experience is just nicer and it's just well worth it. I recommend, Barry, for you. I don't want to see you go on a long trip without getting into a pod or at least attempting to get that last minute pod upgrade if you could.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you.
Yeah.
How do you get the last minute pod upgrade? Are you actually standing at the counter at the gate and speaking to a person and saying, hey, what have you got left? I'll buy it right
No.
now.
That happened to me on the way out when I was in Chicago and I was flying on the Japan Airways. I was able to do a cash upgrade
Right.
at the gate. And then on the way back, they wouldn't do it coming out of Japan. So I had to take a seat on the way back, but I had nobody next to me. So it was kind of nice. This time through Air Canada, it was all done at check-in. So I made sure I was, when, it's 24 hours before you book your check-in, I was there minute one. And minute one, I'm checking in and I was offered the opportunity to upgrade for a price on the way out.
On the
And I
way
took
out.
it. Yeah. And then on the way back, same thing. On the way back, I was on set. I couldn't upgrade at the time. I was offered the upgrade and I was trying to press it. And then I got called to set. I had to go be in my scene. And so I ended up screwing up the check-in. There were 2 check-ins. I had to call Air Canada after to get reset. And then I was still able to get it. Nobody had taken it and this was a day later. Nobody had taken it. And then same thing. when I was going to Vancouver, at some point in the check-in, the Vancouver thing opened 24 hours before. Even though you check into the whole flight at once, it opened again, and I was able to. And all of a sudden, there was one seat, in the premium economy, and I was able to upgrade to that.
Beautiful.
It was a harrowing tale, but you have to do it whenever you can. You have to do it. There's a lesson for the kids out there. It's that if you have the opportunity to upgrade, it's a couple bucks out of your pocket, but you just enjoy it. And there's some satisfaction of watching everyone else go behind you on the plane. You get to board, you're on first, you're off first, which means you're in customs first, both times. And
Yeah.
customs in Japan was crazy. And I was able to cruise on through as all these planes were configured. You and I would have been in lockstep, moving at high speeds because we would have known we had to get there. But yeah. So anyway, that was key too, because front of the plane means front of the pack when you're getting through those important things like customs, and your bag is priority, so it will typically come out on the belt first.
I love that.
Whew.
Last question about the flight. Were you able
Yeah.
to use your Nexus status at any point during your journey?
Yes, on the way back to Canada in Vancouver, when I came through, I was able to use the Nexus line and I was able to cruise on through. It wasn't very busy anyway, and I was first. There's one guy ahead of me the whole way. He was like a super traveler. Like, I congratulated him when he got to security because he was first. We got down the pathway. I'm following him. I can't catch up to him. He's a small guy and he's got his thing on wheels. I just had my backpack. I checked my bag and I'm going. I could not catch this guy. He was a master all the way through. Then we get to security and he took a wrong turn. He went to go to one of the I took a wrong turn. At one point, I got on one of those moving belts and it took me past the corridor I was supposed to turn at. So I had to get off, come back. I was still behind him, ahead of everybody else. And then we're at security. After we go through Nexus, it's the last checkpoint. He's going through the security bit. He tried to go immediately to the front and they didn't have it open. You had to wind your way through all of that. So we got in. He cuts off. He's stuck with the belt. They're like, you got to go back, sir. I'm winding my way. I got to security and I looked at him. I turned around. I said, I win. But you, sir, are the master of the airport. He was like, I've done this many times.
Nice. That's cool. It sounds like you had a positive interaction.
It was great. I talked to even my seatmate on the way back was a really nice guy. He was a board member in Nunavut at a business up there. So I chatted with that guy. And somebody else, as I was boarding on the plane, who was in the very first row from Japan to Vancouver, he knew the pilot. The pilot was retiring soon. The guy had just spent 5 weeks in Japan. We were just chatting in line, waiting for the boarding time. And he's like, he gives me his card. He works for the government. He's like, because we were talking about how I was in the Christmas movie with Terry Hatcher. He's like, send me that. I love Hallmark movies. Send me that. So I sent him an email with the link to the name of it. It was great. And I knew that we'd be in good hands because the pilot had friends. So he was going to be real careful that flight.
Yeah,
you know?
Totally. Wow. That sounds like just nothing but a VIP experience all around.
That's what everybody has to do. And when you do get the pod, try and be a little social. Try and meet some of your, they're not going to be seatmates, but they're part of the business class crowd. And you want to get to know
they're part of the
people.
ecosystem.
Yeah, there was a woman on the other pod right over from me, and the flight attendants were falling all over themselves to make her happy. She was somebody either important or like worked for Air Canada or something, but they clearly knew her. I wanted to ask, but I just respected her privacy.
So you didn't recognize her as like a Hollywood celebrity or something?
No, not anything like that. But I think she was maybe, she was working a lot. I could see she was on her phone a lot. And then, so I think like this route from Japan to Vancouver was a common one for her. So maybe she was like part of the government, maybe part of a, whatever we call them. Special envoys. I don't know. I'm making that up.
Yeah. Sounds it tracks though.
Barry, that's my Japan story. I'll have more as the show comes out. Before we wrap, we got to do shot number 2.
Yeah, let's get into it. That was quite a tale. I'm thirsty.
Whew.
Jason Riley, I said it at the top of the show. I'm going to say it again. Welcome home. Glad to have you back. And here's to you.
Thank you. Cheers.
Yeah, there's been some things happening over here too while you've been away.
Yeah.
Not nearly as exciting. Let's just everyone
Your
calm
Japan
down.
adventure.
Preface it with that and just say that it was not nearly as exciting. I got some new undershirts from our friends at Hanes, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about this. They have finally cracked the code on blocking sweat from the old underpart.
Impossible.
And what have they done? It's basically like having a couple of folded pieces of thick paper towel in that area. Jay, it works like a charm. I'm a guy who tends to sweat a fair bit. So this is like a gift from heaven. And I'm tossing out all my old undershirts. So buy with confidence Hanes. You can get them on Amazon, pack of 3, $30, and they got that extra padding.
Okay. I got to tell you, like 10 years ago, I saw something like this.
Really?
And I bought one. It was an undershirt. Because again, I also would, not as much as I did then, but I would sweat through like dress shirts. And
Yeah.
I got it. And it was not Hanes. It was like some off brand. And it was
Well,
like,
that's the problem.
well, it was like 2 diapers were sewn into these sleeves. It was absolutely ridiculous. You couldn't put your arms down. It was like 2 diapers sewn
Yeah.
into the armpits of this dress shirt, of this undershirt. So you're saying
Well, it
the
sounds like a
technology's
prototype.
improved.
Sounds like what
It
you bought was
does.
a prototype, Jay.
Yes, a prototype.
But now you can rest easy. A decade has passed, and they've gotten rid of that. So what you
Yeah?
get now is just thinner, but it's still you got the absorbency. And I'm telling you right now, I'm a changed man. I can
Really?
wear lighter colored shirts now without worrying about looking like I got pools of sweat under my arms.
Okay. Why don't you just
Yeah.
wear them on their own? Like, that might be
I
nice
could,
too.
but I think I'll save them for shirts that I really want to wear out.
Okay.
When we're hanging out, and so I don't have to worry about that. It's incredible.
Okay. That's exciting.
It really
Do you
is.
wanna- all right. So I told you I tried them years ago. So I'm glad to hear the technology's improved.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
want to hear you did the Japanese movie review. So I'm talking about Japan. You're going to talk about Japan. This is for our
Just
Big in
very
Japan
briefly.
episode. Yeah, briefly.
Yeah, it does all tie up. Our movie guy, who's not with us today,
Yeah.
he and I went and saw on the day you were flying out. Coincidentally, now we didn't plan that. That just happened to be. You are in the air. We are at the theater watching a movie called Exit 8, and it's based on a video game. And I didn't know anything about it. It's kind of like Groundhog Day. There's a character trying to make his way through the exit or getting out of a Tokyo subway,
Mhm.
but he keeps getting looped back. It's kind of strange. And the only way to
It sounds
get past these checkpoints is if you notice something that's different, you either have to go back or you have to continue forward. And based on those decisions, that will allow you to get to exit 2, 3, and 4. But if you screw up, you're back to the first exit. So
Okay.
that's kind of what it was. It was like Groundhog Day, but you're in a subway. You're just trying to get home. It was okay. It was. I was under the impression it was supposed to be scary. It wasn't overly scary, but there is one highlight for you in particular. Runtime, 1 hour and 29 minutes.
Beautiful.
But I will say, and if Rob were here, he would disagree. But I'll say this: you feel every one of those 1 hour and 29 minutes.
Yeah. Okay.
That's that.
I know what
so,
you're saying. Okay.
yeah.
Well, so Exit 8, maybe skip it.
Yeah.
Unless you
Yeah, skip it. I think just skip it.
You saw it at the theater.
I did, yeah,
Yeah.
and it's subtitled, so it's legit. Not a lot of dialogue, thankfully, but yeah, it's not bad. It just I wouldn't rush out to see it. Maybe play the video game because apparently
Maybe.
the video game is exactly like what we saw.
Sounds like you're watching like a recorded version of the video game. Like he kept.
We
trying
might
to
have been
get out and he
watching a
didn't, he
live
went back.
stream of somebody playing.
You
for
might
all I
have.
know. I have no idea, but
Nice.
that would be a
All
fun
right.
reveal if at the end it was just some guy in his basement.
Well,
saying, thanks for coming to the theater to watch me play my game.
Barry, I'm so glad we both had Japan stories to share.
Yeah, me too.
And I want you to keep us posted on how things are going with your sweat reduction. Thanks
So
to
far,
these
so good.
Hanes undergarments. That's great.
Right.
Okay.
Hanes, a trusted name. They're like cornflakes. They've been around for 150 years, and they finally got it right, Jay.
Nice. They're padding the armpits. It can only be so long before they start padding other places. I
can't
think
wait.
some do. Some do.
Yeah, they do.
We'll talk about that on a whole other future episode.
Yes, we
Barry,
will.
always good to see you. Listeners, viewers, thank you for tuning in. We will see you again next week with another fresh episode and not a sweaty episode of Two Shot Tuesday.
Amen. See you then.
Thank you for listening to Two Shot Tuesday. The show is produced by Barry and I and edited by me. If you have yet to rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts, please take a second to do so now. It helps us grow, and it helps new audiences to find the show. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Two Shot Tuesday, and on Twitter at Two Shot Tuesday Podcast. Stop by, give us a follow, leave us a comment, and share your favorite episodes. If you have a question you'd like featured on the show, you can send us a text at 647-486-4848. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.